Ready. He's my excellent. He's my. Oh, he's my.
Yeah. Oh. Welcome everybody. September 19th, I think. Downtown Madison Kiwanis Club. We will start with our Pledge of Allegiance. Flags in the back. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Looks like about 20 bodies in the room, and then we got a few on Zoom. And we will, actually, I'm circulating a card for Scott Wallace's spouse, Marty. It's going around. Scott passed away on the 15th. So John Nicky will share some thoughts about Scott later in the date, later in the hour, but we'll start with our presentation. And as soon as Co is done signing in, she's going to do the introduction. And it's on the new building of WYSO. So here's Co.
You can just hold this.
Okay. So Bridget Fraser came on board as WYSO's executive director 12 years ago, and the organization has grown and thrived under her leadership. She works with the board of directors and the artistic staff. She oversees a team of 9 professionals and a multitude of program offerings that keep growing. We have nearly 450 students from 19 counties around the state. Bridget graduated from St. Catherine's University in St. Paul, Minnesota, and she has devoted her entire career to arts administration. Prior to WYSO, for instance, she worked with the Chicago Symphony, the Ballet Chicago, etc. In addition to WYSO, she serves on the board of directors of the Youth Orchestra Division of the League of American Orchestras. She is also a member of Downtown Rotary and Tempo. And like me, she's from Green Bay. She and her husband, Donald, a composer and recording producer, are the parents of 2 grown daughters, Murphy and Molly. Bridget has a strong belief in the transformative power of music in a young person's life. And I know that this group believes in that too. And that's another reason why I've been on the board forever. So please welcome Bridget Fraser.
Well, I'm going to stand over here, I think. So thanks a lot, Co. Can everyone hear me? Good.
That's the room mic here. That's for Zoom. Yep. So if you speak into that.
You want me to speak into both?
The Zoom one, actually, you can just kind of leave here and it'll pick it up quite well.
Okay.
That way you don't have to have something in your hands.
Oh, very good. Okay, great. Well, thank you for having me. First, before I get started, I'd like to introduce my colleague. This is Susan Gardels, and Susan is WYSO's Director of Development and Communications. She's put together this lovely PowerPoint for you today. And maybe midway through this presentation, I'm going to turn the mic over to her. She's going to take you on a walkthrough of the new building. So before we get started, I would just like to say thank you. Kiwanis has been a real friend of WYSO for as long as I've been involved, and probably for longer. You've supported our Music Makers program. You've been sending us lots of guests and audience members to concerts. And, you know, you've really demonstrated your support, not only by your presence at our events, but by your financial support. So we're very grateful. And because of your support, the Music Makers program is flourishing. And I know I'm not here to talk solely about Music Makers today, but we do have a milestone to celebrate with that program. There are now 109 children in that program, and started out with about 60. So over the last 10 years, it's really developed into a robust program. So thank you for your support for Music Makers. Who has never heard of WYSO? Anybody that's, no shaming, you can say it if you don't. Okay. Who's knowing someone? Is there anybody in the room that was in WYSO? How about, do you know anybody that was in WYSO? Children, grandchildren. It's pretty hard. I, you know, do a lot of these speaking engagements. It's really pretty hard to find a group of people that don't have some connection to this youth orchestra program. The roots in the community are deep, and for the last 56 years, we've been offering these really transformative musical experiences and opportunities to young musicians from throughout South Central Wisconsin. So just a little snapshot of where we are now with the program. We have 5 orchestras. WYSO started in 1966 with 1 orchestra. Now we have 5, 3 full orchestras, 2 string orchestras, a number of ensembles, percussion, harp, brass. We have a robust chamber music program. And then of course we have our Music Makers program that provides financial support to kids who don't have access to musical education. So there's a lot going on at WYSO on the weekend. This is, I won't read everything that's on that slide, but this is just to say that this isn't a program simply for kids who have the resources to study music. You know, studying music can be expensive. You got to take private lessons. You got to have a nice instrument. But WYSO doesn't turn anyone away because of their financial circumstances. And we do provide scholarship support to many of the students that are enrolled. You know, it's a program that the orchestral program, you must audition into that program. But if you've got the talent and you've got the drive and the determination, we're going to find a way for you to participate. Also a very diverse program. I think, you know, sometimes we think, well, this is just for, you know, affluent white children in our community. And as a matter of fact, it's really not true. We have a diverse population that includes Latinx, Black, Asian, white, and a number of other mixed race children. So it's a real coming together of many diverse communities, and they all share one thing, and that's a love for making music. So now the big news, WYSO's new home. Okay, just a little bit of background. WYSO was in residence at the University of Wisconsin for 54 years, I believe. And this was about in 2019, the WYSO Board of Directors voted to leave the university. There were a number of factors that led up to that, including some policy changes at the university, including the growth of our own program where scheduling was becoming very difficult. We are terribly grateful to the university for their support over so many years, and we still have a wonderful relationship with the music school. But it was time for us to have our, as somebody put it, time to come out of our grandpa's basement. So we had an agreement with McFarland School District to become their in-residence group for the next 3 to 5 years, while we designed and prepared for a capital campaign to build our own facility. Well, you know what happened? COVID happened. And it no longer became feasible for us to be at McFarland. So, well, let's leap into action, folks. Time to get going. And And the WYSO board did just that. They voted to undertake a capital campaign, and the search for our new home was underway. When we received our lead gifts from Pleasant Rowland and Jerry Fauci, $18 million, we knew, okay, we can do this. And they actually helped us identify the location for our new building, which is, and Susan will talk a little bit more about this, but it's adjacent to the new Madison Youth Arts Center in a really wonderful developing corridor that East Washington is becoming, a real youth arts corridor. So really fortunate that that all happened. Home of the former Avenue Bar. Who's been to the Avenue Bar? Yes. My husband was very upset with me. I said, we bought the Avenue Bar. And he said, well, what are you going to do with it? And I said, well, we're going to knock it down. And he said, you mean you own a pub and you're knocking it down? I said, it's for a good cause. So anyway, that's kind of just a little bit of a little history of how we are finding ourselves in the situation we are today. And I think it's time to let you see some of the exciting photos, and Susan's going to walk you through all that.
Well, thank you so much. This was a building that was really designed in one of the most creative ways possible. Everything about it was designed based on music. And so the shape of the building started out as the shape of a cello on its side. And then as they needed to break it up for the big rehearsal halls, it became a little more abstract. But if you look at the drawing through the middle, that really kind of shows you that beginning sketch. Inside the building, from rich wood floors and trim to bell and horn shapes of flowers, to just curves, just big sweeping curves throughout the building that mimic curved shapes of instruments. The building is just full of musical surprises. As Bridget was mentioning, it's right downtown, close to the Youth Arts Center on Ingersoll, and East Wash is right where we are. And they even created a new building address for us. So it's 1118 East Washington Avenue. We're close to the brand new transportation hub that's supposed to bring families and students from all over Madison and can drop them off up and down East Wash Avenue. Proximity to downtown, the Madison Youth Arts Center, the Sylvie, the Art Lit Lab, Breeze Stevens Field. It's becoming just an amazing campus for youth arts. So these are all renderings, even though they look almost like photographs that the architect did for us. This is what it will look like from across the street in just a little kitty corner. What is this building going to do for WYSO? Well, it's going to do a lot. It's going to allow us to expand our programs and the opportunities, remove barriers, to create an inclusive community in which all the WYSO programs are under one roof. And what we see is a music makers program that is now 23% of all of WYSO programming, and it is in a church in Fitchburg. How wonderful to have that, the orchestras, the chamber music, all of the pieces of WYSO's programming all together in one place. Oops, and I lost my... I keep moving the participants around. There we go. Yep, got it. So if you're going to take a quick tour of the building, maybe one place to start would be as you would be dropping your kids off or dropping someone else off. There's a beautiful drive-through that you can start at the very top and come right through. Kids can be let off at the front doors and enter into the building right there. As they enter, there's a beautiful lobby, glass fronted, over 2 stories tall, that will be a gathering space for families, for the community, for kids as they arrive in the building. On that same floor, you can find the entrance to the main rehearsal hall. There's a big sweeping curved wall that will lead you toward the back of the building, and there you'll find catering, community gathering areas, restrooms, elevators, 2 elevators in this building, in addition to the stairs that you can see, and the WYSO admin offices. And there's also a small stage right behind the base of that stairway going up that could be perfect for a string quartet, a small ensemble to play right in front of the building. This is the main rehearsal hall. It is the gem of the building. It's all of the rehearsal halls are big enough to hold 100-member orchestras. This one soars from the ground floor, 39 feet tall, perfect acoustics. Is going to be a magnificent place for kids to rehearse, for adult musicians to rehearse. There's such a shortage of rehearsal halls in Madison that it's going to be truly just a wonderful asset to the community. One of the things that this particular rehearsal hall can also do is it'll be perfect for small chamber ensembles to play, for recitals, so that you could have an audience set up on the floor, and then you could have the musicians playing at one end. It'll be a terrific space. This is another one of the rehearsal halls. This one's actually, you enter on the 2nd floor, right above that covered lane that you drove through. Both of the 2nd floor rehearsal halls are right there, and they're 24 feet tall, so plenty of height, great acoustics. And this is the 3rd one, which will also be part of the percussion studio, and the percussion equipment will all be stored in storage areas around back. You can see in this one, we're looking down from one of the balconies. All of these rehearsal halls have balconies, and it reminds us a little bit of when we were in the humanities building. One of the favorite things that parents would do is come and watch the kids rehearse from sort of a secret spot where the kids couldn't see them and didn't know they were there. And it's being recreated here. It will also give us a place in the main rehearsal hall. We can rehearse with a full choir spread throughout the balcony. So really wonderful piece of the design. In addition, there are 8 studio classrooms where all kinds of magic can happen. These are places where sections of the orchestra can come to work on their pieces of the music. It's a place where music makers can gather and can have their group classes. And it's also a place where the community could hold meetings. And every piece of this building has been designed to help think about how we can involve the community, and especially at times when we're not holding rehearsals and we don't have the need for all this space, what can make it useful and a total asset to the community. These small practice studios can be used for private lessons. One of the things we realized as we were first surveying music teachers in Madison is that many of them were hoping for places to hold private lessons that wasn't in their home or in a school or something along those lines. And so there are small practice studios that can be used for private lessons. They can be used for small group coaching, and they can also provide space for individual and small ensemble practicing. This is one of the areas, one of two areas that is set up for catering, and it can accommodate everything from the famous WYSO bagel breakfast for kids who would arrive sometimes as early as 7:30 and stay all day playing music. It could also be used as a setup for dinners, for conferences, for galas. It's going to be a really beautiful building, and we wanted to make sure that catering would be comfortable using this kind of a space, and that it could be used for a conference in Madison. And then the administrative staff will also have a space in this building. This will be the first time in many, many years that the staff actually has their offices in the same building in which the rehearsals take place. And it's just incredibly valuable to have that we could run down and take photographs of things. We can do presentations. We can make sure, support each other as the kids are arriving, and then get back to work in an office rather than trying to figure out a space somewhere outside with a laptop on your lap doing something really exciting, and exciting to be able to have visitors come and meet with us in this beautiful space that will be built. So the construction to date, this is a photo from just last week where the concrete footings along the north property line were poured, really showing us that the construction is underway. The first month or so has been kind of I don't want to say an invisible phase, but the soil along East Washington Avenue is notoriously bad. And in order for it to hold a building, they had to add a lot of structure to the soil. And so it often looked as if they were just bulldozers moving the same stuff around over and over, but they were actually doing what they needed to fortify all of that soil. And now we've got the foundations in place. Running along the bottom of the screen is what we've used to cover the fencing as you drive down East Washington Avenue. So everybody knows what's going on behind the barriers. Oops, gonna move this one more time. Yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. And Bridget's here to answer questions as well.
So, yeah, oh, good, yes.
You mentioned 2 areas of catering. Could you weekly cater in your hotel?
It's funny you should ask. I was thinking, standing over there, now when can we sign up Kiwanis to have their meetings there? The answer is, of course. Well, there's a number of, there are various size rooms. There's rooms like this, there's the rehearsal halls, there's conference room space. So anywhere from 500 square feet to 3,000 square feet, multiple spaces. Yeah.
And the kitchen with the stove and refrigerator and everything you need.
Yeah, and one of the main floor larger studios is equipped to manage the needs for a large event, like electricity and
Follow up on that. You're going to have performances there. How is the parking in the area?
Thanks, good question. Now, we're not going to have our major concerts in this space. We'll only be holding smaller recitals and master classes, that sort of thing. WYSO adjacent to this site, to the east, is a small little business, Ava's Budget rental business. And then on the other side of that is a parking lot, which we own. So that's one area that's available for parking. There are numerous garages within 1 or 2 blocks, and there's quite a bit of street parking as well. So I think we're good. Easier to park here than the university. Yeah.
Who's the architect?
Strang Architects. We have a wonderful project team that we put together in the very beginning that includes Strang. The construction partner is Findorf. And we worked with a commercial real estate developer. We have an urban planner. We have a bank, and really wonderful group of people that have been working on this project for about a year now. So Drew Martin is the designer for the building, and I bet he's going to win some awards for it, because I think, can't be like, I'm so proud of this building, and I think Madison is going to be really proud to have this building. This is not a typical thing that youth orchestras have, like anywhere in the country. Milwaukee has their own building, but there's really nothing quite as stunning and iconic as this building. So I think it will become a real community treasure. Yeah.
Terry, I appreciate your getting into the subject, because I want to make a small plug for this. Alan Strang was a member of this service club until he died in the 1990s. And I worked for Strang for 29 years. retired about 15 years ago, but they've gotten into doing a lot of these types of facilities. American Players Theater, Northern Lights, the new one downtown with the university, and up at Menominee Falls, and they've done one now in South Dakota somewhere.
Yeah,
in the city, I
yes.
think, or someplace like that. So you've got yourself
We've really got a great team, and you know, it's a very complex building to build because of the acoustics. And so, and an expensive building because of the acoustics. So you think of those 3 large rehearsal rooms, they have to be isolated so that things can go on simultaneously without disturbing and without any bleed across rooms. So it's quite an undertaking. Yeah.
I was going to react, the description of the building on campus was a building within a building. And is that what the big rehearsal halls were?
It's not quite a building within a building, but it is highly isolated. It's not exactly that, but pretty darn close. Yeah. Yep.
I saw reference to community use of the facility. I'll take it the angle of how much of your budget do you anticipate recouping from renting out your space? Because it's perfect
It is.
for that,
Well-
if it's reasonably charged.
Well, we're in the middle right now of developing our rate structure for rentals and developing policies for rentals. We want to make it affordable. We want to make a little money, of course. But we have to be competitive with the other facilities in the neighborhood, like My Arts and like others. And so we're actually working a lot on those partnership developments right now. Mission similar organizations that might want to use the building, mission dissimilar organizations that want to use the building, corporate events, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I think the answer to your question is, what percentage of our budget will it be on day one? Probably not that much, but you know, we're taking a long view, and you know, it'll take a while to develop our client base. So 3 to 5 years, we're creating that business plan right now. So yes.
Did I miss one of, did you mention when it was supposed to be later?
No. October of next year. A year from now. Now, you're never going to believe this. There's a 60-week delay on electrical components. So we had to order those like even before we broke ground. And we won't get an occupancy permit unless we can turn the lights on. So we're fingers crossed for October of next year. We won't start any programming in the building probably until January, because like we need to learn how to turn the lights on and, you know, make sure our clients can be comfortable. Yeah.
Got another question for you. Is there any, will there be any capability for broadcast, like maybe through the PBS?
Yes.
and the W radio?
Good question. We have a lot of AV and data built into the building. So we'll be able to do live streaming. There's also a control room for recordings. So recording engineers can come and bring their equipment. There'll be playback. So the orchestras can actually be recorded while they rehearse, and then they can play it back. So yeah, there's a lot of great technology. And there's also going to be a piano lab. So Farley's House of Piano is our musical instrument sponsor for this project, and we're working with them to make sure we have the piano lab set up. We'll have a 9-foot concert grand Steinway in the signature rehearsal hall. We'll have other grand pianos, and yeah, so it's, as I said, quite an undertaking. Yes.
I noticed you had a lot of rehearsal halls. Do you have a concert hall there too?
No concert hall. When we perform, the WYSO orchestras perform 3 times a year. So November, March, and May. And when we do that, we'll go out into the community and we'll play at Middleton High School, or we'll play at McFarland High School, or we'll play at the Hamel Center or Overture, maybe. But no, the footprint of this building just wasn't big enough for a performance hall, that would accommodate 500, 600 audience people. So, yeah. The impact of the WYSO programs can't be understated, over 5,000 alumni all around the world, some holding seats in major orchestras. We have a WYSO alum as principal bassoon in Pittsburgh. We have the principal trumpet for the Baltimore Symphony. We have the principal bass for the San Francisco Symphony. These wonderful musicians, along with their colleagues who have gone on to be professionals in many, many different fields, successful professionals. And we believe it's in large part to the lessons learned at WYSO: passion, determination, teamwork, creativity, problem solving, and commitment. So, these kids turn into really great human beings as a result of being in the WYSO program. So again, any more questions? We're really glad you invited us to come, and I hope you will use the center after it's built. We'd love to give you a tour. Once we get closer, maybe we could set that up. Maybe we can do a construction tour even. That would be fun. Yeah.
Beautiful building.
Yeah. There are brochures on the table. Please take a brochure. Please come up and look at the boards if you'd like. And you can see the floor plan in a little greater detail. And when you drive down East Wash, you can honk and say, yay, WYSO. Yeah.
I'll ask one more question.
Yeah.
About your finances, if you care. How much is raised every year? Do you have an endowment?
Oh,
How much does our donation, obviously it's put to good use, but
Yeah.
how much do you rely on philanthropic
heavily.
individuals?
Heavily. Well, so just quickly, the budget for this project is, our goal is 33 million. We've raised almost 24. So we have a ways to go, but that's pretty good. We're 2/3 of the way there. The public phase of the campaign is just getting underway. But the WYSO operating budget this year is 1.7 million. And I'm trying to remember, Co, you might remember this, when I started in 2010, I want to say it was 450. Yeah, so it's grown substantially over the years. We do have an endowment. We have our own foundation, the WYSO Foundation. US Bank controls those assets, and those assets are now, well, sadly, a little bit down from where they used to be. Yeah, but roughly in the neighborhood of about $3.8 million in the endowment. Another very healthy, makes WYSO a very viable and financially sustainable organization, thanks in large part to that endowment, which we draw from.
I think one of the most exciting things for me this last year has been that a WYSO music maker student is now the concert master of the Philharmonic Orchestra, which is the second one. He's a young black man. I think he was originally from Africa, was he?
Yeah.
But he's tall and slender, and he's so dignified. And there he is, as concert master. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, seeing him on the stage last year was really gratifying, and that's like a real concrete example of what your support has done for these kids. It's about 12% of those music makers kids have the desire and the ability to audition into the WYSO orchestras, and it's great. It's really great to see that.
The other thing I'd like to add is, it sounds like really big numbers, but as the Director of Development, what I can tell you is we rely heavily on grants of 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 from everywhere. And we're just so grateful that you guys contribute to WYSO. It's not a small thing. It takes a lot of notes to make a piece of music, and every note is important. And we're just absolutely grateful.
Yeah. So if you are into your, do we have the QR code on these?
It's inside.
Oh, inside the brochure, if you take your phone and you scan that QR code, you can, it'll pull up a video of the performance, the WYSO performance at Overture Hall for our 50th anniversary. And that's really fun. You don't have to do it now, but it's just fun. And you'll be kind of wowed when you watch that. So anyway, thank you all very much. Thank you.
Should I take this with me? Leave it? What do we need to do?
You're free to stay, or if you have business to do, you can leave. We have some business to take care of. It's a perfect timing because I want to remind everybody, the board is meeting after this meeting to set the budget for next year, which starts October 1st. So I know WYSO is in our budget discussion. So Dick is a proponent of keeping it in there all the time. So we'll be discussing that. So everybody's free to stay for the board meeting as we discuss the committee budgets for next year. I'm going to ask John Icky to come forward and share thoughts, memories of Scott Wallace, who we lost this last week. Longtime member, I believe, 31 years. And John's going to share some thoughts.
Thank you. I've got two things to talk about. One, Scott, another you'll hear later. In one's life, there are leaders and followers. In my life, Scott Wallace was a leader who I willingly followed. And those trips were to places like golf courses, private and public, Kiwanis, Milwaukee for special German food. He had a special combination of skills that I admired. Knowledge of how to live and the ability to collect people around him who are at peace with their surroundings. I will miss him greatly. And just look back there and see Mike Ely. This is a program that he put together for the Kiwanis Centennial. Not Mike Ely, but Scott Wallace. But as I look here on that centennial, Mike was the president of the club. Congratulations, Mike. Now I got another thing to talk about. Our program chairman asked me to be in charge of 3 10-minute book reviews, which you all know about. What's the date for that?
You're putting me on the spot. I don't remember. It's the second Monday.
Second Monday, I think is
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, because the first Monday of January, we're going to watch the bowl games.
Okay, so I need 3 book reviews. And each one should be about 10 minutes. You've all heard these before. We're going to do it again, 3 book reviews, but you got to keep me involved because I have to figure out where we sit as far as, are we ready? Or do I have to go out and stir up some people? Or do I have to do one myself? So please keep me involved. I will ask at various meetings along the way, how are we doing? Let me know. Thank you.
One more thought. If you didn't read the email this yesterday morning, there'll be a full obituary for Scott Wallace in Wednesday's State Journal, is what was in the Sunday short death notice. So there's also a visitation. Now I have to open up my calendar. I believe it's the 29th from 4 to 7 at Crest Funeral Center on University Avenue. And there'll be a repeat of that on Friday morning for an hour, also at Crest. So, and this is 6021 University Avenue. So I know I will go, and if anybody else can go, that's the timing. It's again in Sunday's paper. If you go to the Wisconsin State Journal website, they have an obituary page that would have the information there. And again, there's a card going around. It's on the last table. Okay, I believe we have about 20 members here and a good 3 or 4 online. So thank you very much. As I said, the board is going to meet after this meeting is over and discuss and hopefully vote and pass the budget for next year. Not sure about quorum, but we'll try. Jim, are you gonna have to leave?
Yeah.
Okay, that's gonna make it tough then, but we may have an electronic meeting to vote.
Well, if nobody objects, you can still do it. If nobody objects to a form.
If nobody has a quorum call. I still remember getting yelled at for having a quorum call on campus for a academic staff assembly, and people were pissed, but we didn't have a quorum and I didn't want to pass business as chair of the assembly. Oh, well. So again, we'll meet over here. I do have some announcements, but let's do the moment of reflection. Tom, are you up for it or not?
Well, yeah, I would do it at the end if you don't mind.
Okay, we'll wait till then. Okay, just a rundown of future meetings next week. The Psychology of Forgiveness, Robert Enright. Sounds interesting. Again, on the 3rd of October, the first Monday, we will not have a meeting as we meet Tuesday for our awards banquet at Nokoma Country Club. And Dick, is everybody signed up or do you need to?
Not everybody is, but anybody who hasn't signed up, tell me today.
We need to know today, so talk to Dick about that and get your Turtle Sunday choice, yes or no, or that other stuff that we'll do for the food, so.
Susan, Bridget, you want to sign up?
And we'll have our community awards winners there to present their checks. October 10th, induction of Meg and Jerry and Co as our newest board member. We'll do it officially on October 10th if you can make it. Ken Seville will be here and he's going to do a short overview of some of the Wisconsin Upper Michigan District affairs for the upcoming year. Going down October 17th, speaker will talk about working in the Ukraine. Any details on that, Jim?
He visited
Oh, that's right.
he visited the Ukraine last week and he was working to working on the U.S. foreign aid programs with this country.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that with some slides of the country. So you'll see a little bit about what it was there.
A little of the devastation, I
I don't
assume.
know how much devastation they were allowed to get here.
Okay, that is true, but it's Tom's son-in-law? Stepson. And that's on October 17th. October 24th, Doug Moe will be here. And unfortunately, I'm going to be working in Thailand, so I'm going to miss 3 weeks of programs. And this is one I don't want to miss. It's Doug Moe talking about Kit Saunders Nordine and the rise of women's intercollegiate athletics at the University of Wisconsin.
We can always zoom in.
At midnight. I know it's 12 hours different. So I thought of that actually. And it's
that's kind of an appropriate presentation at this time because I believe it's the
50th anniversary of Title IX. Yep. So the campus is doing a lot to remember the tough times for women athletes, and Meg was one of them.
Yep, and the crew 50th reunion is this weekend.
Ah, very cool. Okay. Oh, actually, I have the information. So again, back to Scott Wallace on September 30th, which is Friday from 9:30 to 10:30 will be also a visitation. So either Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. And you can share memories at crestfuneralservice.com and share some of our Kiwanis memories of Scott. Let's see, Ron Schuler from Madison West has a couple of things to share, including a announcement of pancake breakfast, right?
Right.
So come on up, Ron, and use the mic, please.
Thank you. We got a couple things going on. One is October 4th. We have our Culver Share Night. It's on Middle Point Road, and the sign out in front, instead of having a flavor, they have Share Night, Madison, West Kiwanis, 4 to 8 p.m. And so it's right along, so it's good publicity for us. And all we do, we deliver orders to the customers. That's primarily what we do there. So
You get a cut of it, right?
right, we get a certain percent, and we'll make $600-700 in an evening. And all we have to have is 6 people there at a time, and we break it up in 2 sessions, two times, 4 to 6, 6 to 8. So the other thing is really that's a good moneymaker for us. If we can get, this is the first time we've had it in about 2 years because of this COVID thing, and so we finally get back, and we probably get it almost every 2 years. We usually get it. Then they really like us because we follow their orders. Also, we try to get other people to go and serve and buy food. Oops, I knocked this off. They'll hang there. The other thing, I got some flyers here, more flyers, but on our Pancake Day, it's October 29th at the Covenant Presbyterian Church on the corner of Middle Point Road and Siegel Road. And tickets, I got tickets. If you want tickets, $9. And that's where we fund we have community grants just like you guys have. And a lot of that money goes toward the community grants. We usually have 13, 14, some years up to around $20,000 in community grants. This is outside of the scholarships.
What kind of week is that?
That's a Saturday. We normally do it at Edgewood High School, and they're renovating the cafeteria, and we can't even get in there now. So we hope to get back there. But anyway, so it's at Covenant, and $9 for tickets. If you want to grab, I got some more of these. If you want to put them up someplace where you live, or in your church or whatever, that'd be greatly appreciated. So thank you very much.
Oh, here's your Culvers.
Hi, Jim.
Good luck with the doctor. One other notice that I ran into when I was looking up Scott Wallace's membership, the website's temporarily down, and Jerry also looked at it because of his announcements that he'll do after this announcement. But the transition from Stan to Dick and the website has never occurred, and it's not our fault. It's the web hosting service. So Dick is working on it. We'll be back up live in a couple of days here, hopefully. Basically, they say we didn't pay, but Dick never got a bill, so he can't pay if he doesn't get a bill and all that kind of thing. It just kind of snowballed, but our website will be back up in the next few days, so don't worry about it. Jerry, do you want to do your announcements, please, for a couple of opportunities?
I looked at the website late last week before it went down. I looked at it this morning. That's why I realized you couldn't sign up for anything if you tried. We do have our Department of Revenue blood drive not this week, but the following week, Tuesday, the 29th. And I have one position open that hasn't been filled yet, at least the last time I looked on the website, and that is the 8:30 to 10:30 donor assist canteen. And I'd like somebody to let me know, and I'll put you on the website when it comes back on, or you can sign up yourself. If you have never done a blood drive before, this is probably one of the easier positions to do, because mostly it's walking around asking people if they would like to have some water while they're laying on the cots, or going over by the canteen and replenishing the food that's on the table. And most of the time you get to talk to the people that are there and just find out who they are and find out why they're collecting so many taxes from you. The other thing that I looked at, interestingly, was, and this isn't going to happen yet for several weeks, but that's on September 8th,
October.
You're right. We're gonna do the highway cleanup, Highway 19. There are two of us signed up so far, Dick and myself. Dick said he wants to do the north side, so that lets me do the south side. I hope some other people join us. So if you get a chance, go to the website when it's back up, or you can even just email me and let me know you want to sign up for it. Again, I'm going to try to get the young ones that are members of our club to help us out because Ron, as you said, a lot of our wheels are getting broken down. It's getting harder and harder to do this for most of us. So we have an alternate day in the spring. Remember, we didn't do it because we had some pretty nasty weather when we were supposed to do it, and we didn't have an alternate day. So the alternate date would be the following Saturday, the 15th of October. And we were threatened a little bit by the Department of Transportation that we better get out there and do our job, or they might find somebody else to replace us. And then she kiddingly said to me, no, we probably wouldn't do that. Okay, thank you.
Just, Jerry, next Tuesday is the 27th.
So is it?
It's the 29th.
So it's Thursday, the 29th,
It's Thursday, the 29th.
29th blood drive.
I
Yep.
was gonna say, I'm the one doing registration during that slot, so this would be a great opportunity to spend, single time
For the blood drive.
for the blood drive.
Yeah, okay. I have to say, I think I'm getting taller because the ground keeps getting further and further away from me. So the wheels is coming home. Thursday, the 29th, Dave. Any other announcements? Business. I'm thinking we are done because I don't have anything else. We have reflection from Tom, and thank you, Tom.
Who donated a pen?
Right here.
Well, I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about, and then, of course, with Scott's death, it makes us think about mortality and so forth, but I've got a couple of comments from Winston Churchill, and then I want to close with some thoughts. Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm, was one of the things that's attributed to him. Another one is a pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. So I want to give an Apache blessing that comes from a friend of mine. May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries. May the breeze blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life.
I just thought of this. One of the advantages of living out in the country is we get spectacular sunrises and sunsets. And if you haven't had a chance to see some of the sunsets with the smoke that's from the west, it's a horrible situation out west with the fires, but it makes for some really spectacular sunsets that are just amazing. And I try to capture some photos, but it does not do it justice. But check that out if you can get away. Luckily, I have a clear horizon, but I have to walk away from our little farm to do that. But in tragedy, there's oftentimes beauty like that. So I will call this meeting over and thank you all for coming and see you next week.